Time now is 22 minutes past 7. Now, Tesco Bank has confirmed that some of its customers lost money to fraudsters over the weekend. The company raised the alarm when suspicious activity was detected.
Steph is here with the details. So, Steph, morning to you once again. What exactly do we know about this?
Yes, so we know that it started on Saturday night when customers noticed that money was being taken out of their account, and in some cases up to £3,000. So that is pretty scary if you've got your savings in your bank and you're seeing this money disappear. Tesco sent out an alert and asked people to get in touch with them. Of course, then everyone did in a panic, and a lot of people were waiting a long time to actually get through to Tesco as well. So a lot of anxiety over the weekend. Tesco have confirmed that this was fraud. They're looking into it at the moment with the authorities to see exactly who's done it. And as a precautionary measure, they've said this morning, I've just spoken to them, that they're going to temporarily stop online transactions from current accounts. So you'll still be able to withdraw money with your card from a cash machine. Chip and PIN payments will still work and your direct debits will go through, but you won't be able to do any online transactions, so transferring money online or paying for things online.
But you can check your balance online if you're concerned.
Yes, you can. And in terms of what's going to happen next, if you are someone who's lost money, because this is thousands of customers we're talking about, they're saying that they will refund customers as soon as they can. Now, I asked for a bit more specifics on that, like are we talking 24 hours, 48, and they said as soon as we can.
And the whole amount?
Yes, so they're saying that no one will be left short. So if you've lost £3,000, then they'll make sure £3,000 goes back in, but we just don't know when as of yet.
OK, well, let's get a bit more on this. Thank you very much for that, Steph. Let's talk to consumer expert Kate Hardcastle, who also joins us on the sofa this morning. So, Tesco, aren't they doing all that they can here? As Steph says, they're going to refund all that money. It might not be 24 hours, but they're going to do it as soon as they can.
And they're following their code of conduct. I think this is just a real wake-up for consumers when they realise that the code of conduct can mean that if their debit card is cancelled, for instance, it can take 7 to 10 days for a new one to arrive, and that can hit you really in difficult times, that if money disappears, it might not be reimbursed immediately. Now, even with the complaints procedure, you have to deal with your bank for up to 8 weeks before you can start taking things further. So I think this is for consumers the real smelling salts of, actually, even if my bank works within everything it's meant to do, that could hurt me very, very much in the short term.
What's the answer to that? We're all stuck with a code of conduct, aren't we?
Absolutely, and I think perhaps it's time to have a look and reevaluate some of those quite traditional methods, because the banking week isn't Monday to Friday. Everyone's jobs and times have changed. We're a sort of 24-hour society. We're using online much more, and therefore, if you're going to have all these hundreds of customers struggling, many of them online talking about how this was going to affect them for their fuel, their finances for the week, you really need something in place to help them.
It's part of that beef, isn't it? That it takes you a while to get your money back, but if you go overdrawn by a couple of pence, you're charged immediately.
The immediacy suddenly is there then, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's again one of those stories in a modern world where it's covered very quickly and efficiently by individuals on social media, and it's out there straight away. And part of that is Tesco and other brands who find themselves in a situation trying to protect their name, isn't it, very quickly on social media.
It's a really interesting point, that, because they've got millions of customers. Their plus selling point is very much about the no frills, but always there when you need us. And yet, actually, here are consumers who've taken to social media, and even as a non-banking customer, I've heard about it. A friend of mine yesterday was literally on the phone hours and hours and hours, couldn't get a resolve, couldn't get through. The online team were trying their best but couldn't display certain details online, and it was just a huge challenge and a real realisation that your brand, particularly one like Tesco's that's had some sufferance as a retail brand over the recent years, is now going to have a big mark against it, and it makes people think twice.
What does that say to you about Tesco? Because it does manage its supermarket brand very, very well in terms of customer service. It often has good feedback in that term. But when it comes to Tesco Bank, the customer service is found to be lacking.
The more products that you have associated with the brand, the more of a management job there is to do, because any part of it can be your weakest link. And I think what's really interesting is, again, research shows that we're reluctant to change banking providers.
Do you think Tesco hasn't put the investment into its banking in the same way it does in its supermarket brand?
No, I think the customer service across the whole piece, because it's such a large organisation, is going to have faults within it. And I think what it does is just affects the parent brand that's trying to desperately get itself back on track. But we are reluctant as consumers to change banks. We're frightened of that. And it shows that actually there was a decline in that this year of the amount of people prepared to change banks. So again, this could be a big wake-up call of actually trying to find out who a better provider could be for you in this scenario.
Kate, thank you very much. And as Steph was saying, the advice is if you find yourself out of pocket this morning, then do contact Tesco, and they say they'll look at it as soon as they can.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's 27 minutes past 7. It is time to get the news, the travel, the weather where you are. We'll see you shortly.
See you then.